Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tiffany Benson, one part of Team Benson, and today we're going to do a garden tour of my desert garden that is currently in temperatures of 105 degrees plus. So first guys, I would like to say thank you for all of our new subscribers that have joined the channel, and thank you guys for following me on my journey of growing my garden in the middle of the Arizona desert. And for all of you Northwest gardeners, I've gotten a lot of questions about what do you guys do with this heat wave that's getting ready to hit you guys, or that's currently hitting you guys. Get shade cloth. Shade cloth is what we use to keep our gardens alive down here in the desert, and you guys will get through it. I'm praying for you. But I wanted to take you guys on a tour of my garden just so that you can see what is kind of going on, what's surviving these hot temperatures, and kind of just how it's growing. So let's go for a walk. So guys, first I'm going to start here with my medicinal bed. My roselle is doing really good during the summer. This is a nice summer green, guys. If you guys haven't grown hibiscus roselle, I'm growing it for the teas, but you can also eat the leaves in salads and different things like that. And the leaves are so healthy for it to be growing in such a hot climate. And down below I have my toothache plant, which is getting shaded by this roselle, so it has gotten really nice. Like, I've gotten so many buds off of it. It's still really green. It only has a little bit of sun skull right here on the edge, but it's doing really good. And my catnip had gotten eaten down by bugs. Now it's completely healthy and it has grown back. So guys, one kind of consistent thing you'll see a little bit in my garden is a little bit of sun skull, because when we have high winds, the shade cloth blows and the sun attacks. And also I am letting the insects prune some of my vegetables that I know will grow back. So there's going to be some things that you guys are going to be like, oh my god, spray DT on it, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let it naturally get pruned by its environment. I did that with the catnip. It got pruned all the way back and now it's grown back. I've done that with my peppers before. They get pruned all the way back and then it grows back. Because just like the plant will give the insects the signal to come in and eat them, they also give the insects the signal of when to stop. So when they need to be pruned back, they're going to prune themselves. And with the way I look at it is that I don't have that signal of how far I've pruned some of them back. So if it's something that it's not like a sickness or anything like that, it's just a healthy plant saying I want to be pruned so I can go dormant for a little bit, then I might as well just let the insects do it. Now, something that I need to prune is my lemongrass. Now the lemongrass, nothing eats the lemongrass really, it's just a grass. So I need to go ahead and just chop this all the way back. I meant to save my lemongrass a while back and I just never got around to it, and then the heat got to it and killed it. So these leaves are still good, which I'll probably dry, but I need to go ahead, give the lemongrass a big giant haircut and let it just kind of grow back. Now over here guys, I have my in-ground worm bin, which I will do a video about that because a lot of people have asked me how I'm keeping my worms alive during the summer. And yes, I have tons of worms in there and I'm slowly starting to spread them around my garden where they need it. I also have a little loofah going. We're gonna see, this is my second attempt at a loofah and I've had 2 starts, 1 died, and this is the last one left. So we're gonna see how that goes. I've really been wanting to grow a loofah, but so far I haven't had great luck. Then moving over here, I have my beta alpha cucumber, which is growing up this trellis, this chicken wire trellis, and it has gotten a lot of sun skull right here on the edge, but it's still flowering. And as long as it's not flowering, then I'm gonna go ahead and keep it where it's at. And then I have my big pile of okra. This is just 3 plants, guys, with a little cantaloupe popping up above it. So I have two heavy hitter okras, this one and this one, I believe. And then this one is just a Clemson spineless okra. And they are doing really, really well. They're flowering nicely. They're staying pretty healthy, as you can see. And I'm getting okra about once a week. Or sorry, about once a day. So far it's going good. Now I have two little okras in a pot here. Those ones are the red okras, and then I have some Malabar spinach right down here. So these ones are all going to get potted actually today. They're going in pots, and the Malabar spinach are going in the bricks. Also over here I have a cantaloupe, and this one I'm just kind of letting go wild within the okra. I think it's going to be really pretty, guys. See how it is clinging onto the okra? I think it'll be really pretty if it can use the okra as a trellis and then just kind of grow its cantaloupes off of there. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? What do you guys think if that will happen? Because the okra stems, these stalks are going to get really, really thick, and they're actually pretty strong. So I'm thinking it's possible, but you guys let me know what you think. And then I just planted two more red okras right there, and then one right back there. And then moving over here, I have the butternut squash growing up here, and it is growing alongside the Silver Queen's corn. So if this is the first time you're watching my channel, I have a small space garden and I try and cram and fit a lot of different things that I can into my little garden space. So you're gonna see a lot of things kind of just planted together and mixed in there. And result of that, yes, I do have to fertilize at least once a week to keep everything fed. I do have to water deeply at least twice a week here during the summer. I'll probably move to 3 times a week watering deeply once we get really, really high nighttime temperatures. The nighttime temperatures have gotten up to like the 90s, but we're starting to hit a cool down period because we are finally getting an actual monsoon. At least this is what they say. It rained about 3 days ago. The air is still really humid, and it is going to be raining again next week. At least this is what they say. We didn't have a monsoon last year, so we are all a little bitter about that. But I'm able to grow a lot in these spaces because I am providing the nutrients that the plants need. So lots of compost, fertilizing once a week, and making sure that it's watering. And then not expecting ginormous plants. I don't expect huge growth on a lot of my plants because they're planted really closely together. So they're doing their best, they're providing me with food, and I'm happy about that. So along with the corn, on the other side of this trellis, I have Armenian cucumbers. And I cannot wait. Look guys, they're getting so tall. Armenian cucumbers love the Arizona sun, so don't worry about them not being under shade cloth. As you can see, my Armenian and my corn are not underneath the shade cloth, and they don't have sun skull. They're doing quite well, and they're loving everything in life. Those are truly heat-loving plants. Now we have the peppers. Let me try and get a way where you can see it and it's not so sunny. Alright guys, and next we have are the peppers. And all the peppers are doing good, except for that one. The giant meconium got eaten. And as you can see, the stalks are still green, so it basically is just going into a dormant phase. Which makes sense because all of these peppers I pruned. And I pruned all of these when they were getting out of whack, and now they're healthy and look, even producing peppers. Then going down the row, we have one of my literal favorite squashes. I'm trying to get a good view of this, guys. Look at how big and beautiful that is. And it even has some squash on it too as well. But it is so pretty. And for those of you guys that were wondering about the celery is looking like that. So far, its max temp was 118. That's when it started looking crazy. Along with the Malabar spinach that just, I need to pull it so that I can plant in the new ones. It has an array of forks by it because I've been slowly but surely pulling up all of the forks. So then we move over here to the patty pan, which is not as big as the Mexican gray squash, but it's getting a lot bigger, and it has a little bit of babies on it. It's starting to get flowers. This one is way slower growing. I don't know what it is, but me and patty pans, we just never really mesh well together. So we have the Chinese red long noodle beans. These are doing well now that they're starting to get more sun. So I am hoping that these will grow up quickly so that then that can really provide the shade on this trellis here. I have the basil, which is bushing out so nicely. I love this basil plant. And then I have this little guy that is getting eaten, guys. This is my shishito pepper that I was contemplating taking down. I am going to prune this one back down to here because this one was giving me wonky shishito peppers. So when that happens, I always tend to prune it, and I was gonna come out here and prune it, and then the insects started pruning it for me. Now, why I'm not worried about them pruning it is because if you guys look closely, they are leaving all of the new leaves and just taking these big ones that need to be chomped back. Now, this is what I would do, is I would go through and I would prune, one, cut it halfway down so that then it can bush out, and then two, I would take off, when I prune them, all the big leaves that are then getting like infected or just too bushy. Like this one is just getting too bushy where it's not really getting a lot of airflow. And that's what I would do to the plant, and I would leave all of the smaller leaves. So as you can see, the insects are doing the exact same thing to the plants, guys. So this is why sometimes you have to just let nature take its course when you are organic gardening. Now over here we have the eggplants, which I love. Look at, it's got some eggplants on it right now. And what I needed to happen were the two eggplants to give me eggplants at the same time. But the same thing, I had to cut this eggplant back. This one was the first to fruit, and then it just got really wonky with the heat. Even though eggplant does really well with the heat, I think it was the fact that it was the watering was the bigger issue. But I cut it back, I fertilized and watered it, and now it's growing back all these big beautiful leaves, and hopefully the next cycle they'll give me eggplants at the same time, so then I'll have a lot of eggplants. Now this shishito pepper and that shishito pepper I cut back, and this one might need it again. I'm gonna give it a couple more months, maybe a couple more, yeah, probably about another month or two. If it's getting attacked by the insects, then I know that the plant itself needed to, but this one always seems to have a little bit more heat damage than the other one does. As you can see, the leaves are like curled upwards, and that is because of the heat. Now back here we have some more basil. Now I'm glad I didn't pull this basil, guys, because it was getting attacked. I pruned it and then I fertilized it, and now it's starting to bush back out and grow back better. So I'm pretty excited about that I didn't make that decision and take those out, because now they're coming back better, and I did not grow enough basil, so I need that. And then look at this little guy. This is a rhubarb that I had planted. It seemed to never grow, so I yanked it up, but didn't yank the roots, because typically I never yank the roots of things. And look, guys, it's growing back. So we're gonna see what happens with that. Then we have the jalapenos. The jalapenos are getting eaten the worst, and it's because it's time for them to get pruned. But as you can see, this one was the first one to get eaten, and it's starting to grow back new leaves. Now these little older leaves, like right here where it's like heat damage or just completely died, I need to go ahead and cut that right here at the base, or right here at a nodule, like kind of like a node like this, because that means that that stem is dying, and I want to make sure that the plant's healthy, and that's where it kind of needs to be pruned. So this one is doing really well. The bugs still need to get about two more big leaves, but as you can see, they've left all of these leaves. They've moved on to pruning this one after pruning that one, so this one's starting to grow back. This one is growing back nicely, and then even this one, they've pruned this side, gonna work on this side, but this side is growing back too as well. So guys, this, I will tell you, is the absolute hardest part about organic gardening. When you have plants that you were gonna prune anyway because you're going to keep them longer, like my peppers. My peppers are, one of my shishito peppers is 3 years old. My eggplant is 3 years old. And when you have those plants that you were gonna prune so that they can go into their dormant phase, it's better if you just let the insects prune them. And it's hard to look at them and be like, oh my god, like they're getting attacked. Well, they're getting attacked because they wanted to get attacked. You were gonna attack them anyway and prune them way back to send them into dormancy. So you might as well just let the insects do it and feed the environment. And also those insects that are attacking those plants and eating them down, either they're going to get eaten by something bigger, which means you're going to have more predators in your garden like geckos and different things like that to control populations of things, or it's going to turn into something gorgeous like a butterfly or a beautiful moth that's going to provide a lot more for the environment. So it's hard, but you're not getting fruit off of those things right now, so just let it get pruned by nature and just let the organicness happen. So now we're going to move on to my patio, which is the crazy part of my garden, because this is the part that basically needs to get all ripped out, redone, and get prepared for the next growing season. If you guys watched my video yesterday, I ripped out the Swiss chard, which was yummy last night with some fish and tomatoes, but I ripped that out. I went ahead and I amended the bed, and now that bed is resting as I grow what's going to go inside of it inside. So I have some other plants that need to get ripped out, which is perfectly fine because I already have their replacements from my monsoon garden, which are the okra and the Malabar spinach that you saw there, and then some beans I'm going to be planting. It's now on my patio. It is rough. So all of this, pretty much, well, the tomatoes and the mint got destroyed because the shade cloth got blown off in the heat. Got the full brunt of the tomatoes. The tomatoes got the full brunt of the heat. So the tomatoes I'm pulling out, and that's where I am putting the okra there and there that's in the pot in the other bed. And then my mint, I'm just going to go ahead, prune all the bad leaves back on the mint, but as you can see, it already sent off runners and it's already starting to grow back. And I think since this mint seems to be like growing, sending off runners in these places, I'm not going to put flowers and see if maybe this whole thing will become chocolate mint. And then the flowers are a little burnt up, but they're surviving okay-ish. And then we have some squash that I feel like at this point, this one and this one are just ornamentals because they're a little too damaged from the sun to probably grow anything. So I'm probably going to go ahead and pull these and put some new squash plants in there. And then we have the basil. That basil's still doing really, really good. I had pruned the basil all the way back, and so now it's starting to bush out and grow some new leaves. I need more basil, guys, so I think I'm going to go ahead and plant some more basil in other places and see if I can get some more, because I wanted to save a lot of my basil, but we eat a lot of basil fresh. I mean, each tomato sauce is like, or spaghetti is like a whole plant of basil, so we need a lot more. And in the pots, as you can see, these mints are starting to grow back too as well, so I'm going to go ahead and just clean up all of the dead mint that's in there. Same thing with this one. Just clean up all the dead mint that's in there and then let that new mint grow back. I was getting a little bit of cherry tomatoes on this one, but yeah, they're kind of, this whole plant's it's kind of done. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the okra in this one here. The cucumbers are all done now, so this one is going to get amended. I will do a video on how I amend my pots, because up next I'm going to be preparing this for carrots. This one and then the one that the ground cherries were in right there are going to be prepared for carrots. And my herb bed needs more soil. It needs more amendments. As you can see, look at how low that soil level is on here on my herb bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly amend it one row at a time, so that back row completely can be pulled up because it's all dead. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull all that back up. I really wanted to put worm compost in here, but I think I'm going to have to do just the same mixture that I did with this bed, because I want to get This one will get planted way before October with some of the herbs that I'm planning on putting in there. So I'm going to go ahead, take those up, and then just start amending it with the same mixture that I did yesterday. But I have some sage, rosemary, all doing really, really well. I've decided I'm only growing just garden rosemary because the other garden sage, because the other two sage plants just really didn't work for me when it came to the other seasons. During the winter it didn't work, during the summer it's not working. So I just think I'm just going to stick with my tried and true garden sage. And then I have the rosemaries, the parsley right here in the middle. I'm going to be cutting that back again because I'm going to use it actually for dinner. And then this little guy surprised me. My sweet marjoram, it is continuing to do well. So there we have it. And then my purple basil, once again, I think I'm just going to stick with my tried and true basils because that one did not work for me. And then this one is the chives. I'm going to go ahead and just trim up the chives and let them continue just to grow. So one thing I'm really excited about is for my midget cantaloupe to finish ripening. As you guys can see, it's starting to turn its nice little tan color, and soon it'll be done. But also the plant will be done. If you're growing midget cantaloupes, then you'll know that as they ripen, that's when the plant kind of dies back. So I'm a little disappointed that I only got one, but I will take that one and be happy with it and appreciate the harvest. So guys, midget cantaloupes are my favorite cantaloupes because they're so sweet, they're so dainty, and you can grow them pretty much in a pot, you can grow them in a bed, you can grow them anywhere because it's not that big of a plant. But this year I just did not have pollinators. The bees were just not back here. We had massive fires in Arizona, massive fires in California. The sky was just smoky all year long, and I really just did not have pollinators. So I'm lucky to have that one midget cantaloupe, and I am protecting it with everything. Now let's take a look at my trees. So we're going to start with the tree that's doing the best. This side is doing really good. This side is burning up a little bit. But after the rain, this side got really, really nice and green. And even this side is starting to green up a little bit more, but it is getting some sun skull. Now down below, all the flowers, guys, that I was so happy about planting, all burned up. Except for like some random ones, like that one's fine, that one's fine, and that one's fine. All the rest, dead. So I don't know. I just have a hard time growing flowers, guys. So I'm going to, and also this whole entire area does not get any shade cloth. So I was really looking for some flowers that could take the Arizona heat. Those probably weren't it for direct sunlight for the hottest part of the days. But I'm really gonna be excited when I can plant my spinach again, because although I love flowers and they're pretty, I do like growing food. Now, one of the things I do plan on planting are actually dandelion flowers. Now, I know people are probably like, you're just gonna put a bunch of weeds in your backyard, and the answer is yes, because dandelion is a really good medicinal herb, or medicinal flower. It's one of the first medicinal flowers that people used for medicine, so it does a lot for the body. So it's not going to be the prettiest thing because dandelion flowers look like weeds, but it's going to be something that is going to bring a bunch of pollinators back to my garden, and it also is going to have a benefit. So therefore I'm growing a flower that I can eat. Now let's go to my mulberry tree, which I think that I'm actually killing, not the sun. Alright guys, so my mulberry tree is looking so rough. And yes, it did get a lot of sun damage and it did get torn up in the wind. But these leaves being this brown, I think it's an overwatering issue. And I want to say it's an overwatering issue because I just realized that that still has the base on it. So therefore the roots are just sitting in water. So one of the things I'm going to do is rip that little lid thing off the bottom so that then I can make sure that the water is draining properly. Now guys, I was literally racking my brain because I was like, there's no way that that mulberry tree could be doing that terrible. Like, what's going on with it? And then I noticed that, yes, it was still in the pot. So that's not the greatest things. But I am going to continue to water my garden because it's hot and it's starting to get warm quick. If you guys have not already subscribed, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and continuing to follow me on my desert gardening journey in the middle of the city. But until next time, grow yourselves a garden, because even a small space can provide you with tons of food. Bye guys.